IVM.
Hey, welcome to Shunya One, episode 102.
This is from your visits to Sweden.
Yes, I think the last episode, of course, was with a Swedish company as well.
Okay.
But this one is the first of my actual Shunya One on the road.
Hey, that's
in the 3 digits.
I know, and we're going to start doing a lot more of Shunya One on the road. So if you guys are interested in having us come to your place, find us a sponsor. But more importantly, let us know where you are, and we'll try and come by sometime.
Yeah, absolutely. This was actually a fun episode. I think I was in Sweden, of course, because I was taken there by the SIBC team,
Right.
and I got to have a lot of fun in the few days I spent there. And meet a bunch of fun entrepreneurs.
We're going to hear a bunch of those over the next couple of weeks. I think we should let people just give them a little bit of warning that that's not, your dulcet tones are still as amazing as always. But, you're not sitting in a studio, so audio quality might be somewhat not
exactly.
as
I think I have to still learn how to get the mic set up in the right way.
Or how to do the radio voice outside the studio.
Yeah, I think that's a acquired skill. But I'll figure it out.
But I'm looking forward to hearing this conversation. I'm sure that
this was a really fun conversation with a really interesting startup in the gaming space, actually.
Oh, wow. Okay.
With some cool tech. They had a very cool office. They hosted me over there for while we had this conversation.
Okay.
So let's jump right in. Hey Robel, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Thanks for making the time. I think you have a flight coming up in about an hour or so, is what you told me. So great to sit here in your office on this beautiful day. So tell me about yourself. Tell me about what your startup journey has been, and tell the audience a little bit about what made you what you're doing today.
Yeah. I have a computer science background. I started my first company when I was about 22 years old here in Stockholm. We did an edtech platform where we essentially made it possible for teachers and universities and just schools in general in Sweden to record and distribute lectures in a very simple way. I did that, started from essentially nothing. Did that for about 4 years until we got acquired by a company called Smart Classroom Manager, who did educational software and bundled that together with products from Hewlett Packard.
Mm-hmm.
I worked as a sales manager for them for about a year until I was allowed to quit, and that was essentially when I started my current company about 5 years ago, which is called Challengermode. And what we're doing at Challengermode is essentially creating a way for any gamer to take their passion to the next level when it comes to competitive gaming, right? So we essentially want to create this place where any gamer can go in order to become a pro gamer, from his or her living room or bedroom. Mm-hmm. So it's a competitive gaming platform where you're able to find, world championship qualifiers or tournaments or leagues or just a wide array of competitions across the biggest games in the world. Right now it's PUBG, League of Legends, and DOTA. Launched DOTA just recently.
Wow.
Yeah.
These are like the big ones.
Yes.
Super big ones.
Yeah. So we're just, trying to create this esports infrastructure and, make it available for anyone to use in order to create, their own tournaments or in order to participate in competitions.
So I have to ask you, like your first startup was very different from this one. What was your inspiration in either? I mean, what changed between both? And tell me about why you started the first one and then how you came to this one.
Basically from nothing. Right. I was, a poor student, and I had this, visions and ambitions. I didn't have any good way to fund them. So I essentially used all of my governmental grant that all of the students are getting here in Sweden towards the company, right?
Oh.
So that meant I had essentially no money, to live a healthy lifestyle in terms of, going out and hang out with my friends over a beer. So what I used to do instead was sit at home playing computer games, because it was the cheapest way for me to kill times during weekends. So I came to this point where I've spent, a few thousand hours of, playing computer games, and I wanted to convert those thousands of hours into something more tangible than just, casual play. So that was sort of like how the idea of Challengermode was born.
Yeah, so it's actually out of your own actual experience that while working, you're playing games because, to pass the time, and then you realize there's an opportunity here.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely, one of my, I'm definitely my own user, sort of say. And yeah, I think that's actually like a necessity when it comes to building the type of products that we're building, at least.
So over the past 4 years, how's the growth been for you, and what do you mark as your biggest successes that you've had?
Oh yeah, I mean, we've been growing at a pretty fast rate, just in general, these past years. Right now, for example, we're growing twice as fast as we were growing 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's definitely growing faster and faster. We're still limited to Europe, so it's a European platform. But that's sort of like how we measure success in the scenario where we are right now. It's growth and engagement, and we're sort of entering this phase where it's time to monetize as well, but we're not too in a hurry to do that.
What kind of demographic? I mean, I know the demographic is obviously gamers, but what's the biggest incentive for a gamer to sort of join your platform?
So I guess the biggest one is to they're able to win money.
Even in the entry level.
Yes. So it's a free to play product, but essentially as long as you have the right age, and then the right as long as you're the right user type, you're able to win a substantial amount of money depending on what type of tournaments you enter and what leagues you win, and it's mostly all free. Like 95% of the competitions are free. We do several thousands of tournaments per week. And yeah, so it sort of starts there, and then the gamers usually wins a lot, and then they usually get noticed or picked up by some professional teams, and then they can start their esports career.
Right. So esports, now that you mention it, right? It's obviously become this massive category suddenly over the past so many years, and especially the big games that you mentioned, they have worldwide championships, and there's so much real money and cash to be made. What's your take on the fact? I mean, of this sort of a platform, of esports in general. How do you feel about this kind of involvement of everyone in it? Like, is it? What are the pros and cons? It's like gaming used to be. It's sports, of course. It's professional gaming, but it's also something you're sitting down in a chair. 20 hours a day.
Right. So electronic sports is on its way of becoming the biggest sports in the world. Period. And then we can debate on whether it should be called a sport. I think it was I'm not sure. But I think it was the president of the football league in the US who said something super smart. He said if people treat it as a sport and look at it as a sport, it's a sport. Yeah. Whether that's good or bad, I think it's mainly good. As with all, passions, it can sometimes get out of control. But if you just look at how many people are engaged in this activity, we're talking about in the hundreds of millions.
Yeah.
60% of all of the viewers plays competitive games themselves. The same number for soccer is 10. There's like 2.4 billion people gaming regularly, about 1.6 billion people playing sports regularly. Twitch.tv, which is sort of like the like a YouTube for gaming. Yeah. They're now twice the size of ESPN, which is big.
There's that much viewership also. It's not just people playing, but watching others.
Yeah. So it's just it's safe to say that people are starting to treat it as a sport. But I think what's missing and have been missing for a very long time is sort of like the infrastructure that makes it possible to democratize the actual organizational aspect of electronic sports. Just to take an example, today there hasn't really been any scalable way for some guy in some small city in Sweden or India or whatever to organize a large scale high qualitative esports event online. And that's sort of like the problem that we're solving, both for those kinds of organizers but also for the top tier organizers like DreamHack, for example.
So what kind of IP or licensing do you have to get into this? How difficult was it for you to actually break into building the platform and being the platform of choice for people?
Yeah, I mean, so in order to do what we do, you sort of need to integrate directly with the game developers, which is quite a process. It's taken us 5 years to get to this point, and we still feel we're just getting started. But yeah, like once you've done that, it's all about finding the right tech talent, building the right team, and it's a pretty daunting task. Like there's a reason why this hasn't been done, in the manner we've been doing it for a while now.
Right. So what would you say are your who do you compete with as a platform, or what would make someone want to build something else?
I'd say like our greatest competitor right now is the Excel spreadsheet.
Wow.
Yeah, because the majority of the tournaments being run right now are usually handled manually, meaning there's literally people validating game results that are being sent in. These can be done by Excel spreadsheets or some simple web page, but what they have in common is that they're lacking the automation, and the scalability.
In India, we have WhatsApp groups.
Oh yeah, so that's and
like people just join them and say, hey, there's a game on tonight,
right?
Like send us your call signs and handles, and we'll add you to it.
And I think that's beautiful. It's a way for us to sort of validate that there is a need, and then we sort of need to build this perfect product that can, accommodate that.
Yeah. Do you see a lot of mobile gaming picking up, as an interface?
I think that's going to be one of the biggest growth engines the coming years. So any company that would focus on that specifically has a bright future, I'd say.
I think just yesterday Apple announced their whole gaming platform. What are your views on that, and what do you think is happening there?
I think their strategy is essentially to motivate the buyers to upgrade their phones in order to play the latest games, right? Which is it's kind of a brilliant strategy. But it also
but it shows a company like Apple's focus on delivering a good experience of gaming.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's that's a trend that we're seeing right now among all of the tech companies. Either coming out with their own streaming solutions like Google Stadia or Microsoft's I think it's xCloud or something, Extreme. But yeah, it's I think they're right on, and they're not too soon and they're not too late to the game. Actually.
Right. Just closing. Where are you seeing Challenger Mode going next? Like, what are your big moonshot ideas, or where you want to go?
So expansion is going to be a pretty big theme for next year.
Regional, geographical expansion.
Exactly. Okay. So we're of course looking at the North American continent, but also South American. We've been also having some discussions in India. So yeah, that's a might be a big step for us.
So yeah, is it more from a tech scaling standpoint that you have to look at these, or are there also other restrictions? Are governments and regulators looking at gaming and esports as a serious business to take this up?
I mean, just like with any sports, I think this activity or this phenomenon would do good with regulations and standards across countries and continents and language barriers, etc. So yeah, we try to have a proactive approach there, trying to anticipate how the future is going to look like 5 years from now, when the older demographic are starting to adapt regulation and all of that stuff. So there's definitely that aspect of expanding. Second aspect is of course the technical. I would say we're pretty much done with that. And then the last aspect is operational. So we wouldn't really move into a new region unless we've found a good local partner to move into with.
Right.
So yeah, so that is kind of like the three.
Nice.
The three.
What do you want to do a shout out to folks who want to try out your platform? What do you recommend they should do? What's the big dream you think they can get into? Yeah, I mean, I'd say sign up to challenge mode or join our communities. Even if we haven't launched in your area, you'll be notified when we do, and hopefully we can offer you the same type of high qualitative esports experience that we've been able to do here in Europe. And yeah. All right. That's great. Thanks so much for the time. I think we got a good conversation there. Cool. And of course, if you want to do a Twitter handle or something where people can just say hi to you or give some feedback, just tell them where to reach out to you. I think my username on Twitter is Robel Efrem. Just like one word, ROBELEFREM. Okay. And yeah, I don't use it that much, but I'd be happy to start using it. All right. Yeah. Okay. Thanks so much, Robel. This is awesome. Thanks. And let's hope to hear more feedback from our listeners whenever Challenger Mode comes to other parts of the world. Sounds great. All right. All right. Thanks. Thank you. Thanks.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed that episode. And if you enjoy listening to content on the IVM Podcast Network, let me tell you about a couple of things that you should check out this week. On IVM Likes, Abbas, Madhuri, Rutika, and Antariksh talk about pop culture that they never tire of and give you some cool recommendations to check out. On Know Your Kanun, Ambar is joined by Arzu, an LLB student, social activist, and environmentalist. They talk about the data protection laws in India. On Agla Station Adulthood, Ritasha and Ayushi discuss the importance of health and taking care of oneself in the early stages of adulthood. On Keeping It Queer, Anish Gawande returns to join Naveen and Farhad to discuss adolescent and celebrity crushes. On Football Shutball, Gaurav, Karthik and Siva round up the Premier League weekend and talk about the absolute demolition Bayern Munich inflicted upon Tottenham. On The Origin of Things, Chuck narrates a story about a criminal from Portland, Oregon, whose infamous last words have become the slogan for a famous brand. Thanks, and we hope to see you again soon.
Are you looking for India's most awesome cricket podcast? Are you now tired of listening to the same old guys drone on about cricket everywhere? Edges and Sledges is a weekly cricket podcast hosted by 3 fans of the game, Varun, DJ, and myself, Ashwin. It was established in early 2018, has over 60 episodes now, and is of course now proud to be on the IVM Podcast Network. Each week, we get together from 3 different time zones, the USA, the UK, and Singapore, and we talk about things from the world of cricket, with a focus on Indian cricket. We often interview special guests from all around the world, including former cricketers and cricket media personalities. So check out Edges and Sledges, the cricket podcast, now on the IVM Network.